In a world obsessed with numbers, data, and rapid success, we often forget the most essential factor behind every achievement. Behind every graph that climbs upward, every breakthrough, every invention, and every moment of triumph, there is a human being who dared to believe, dared to act, and dared to keep going when it was easier to give up. Today, we'll unravel a simple truth. Every success isn't just about the results, it's about the person attached to it. You are not separate from your success, you are the reason it exists. Just as data needs context, success needs your presence, your energy, and your belief. Let's explore how deeply you are woven into the fabric of every victory you seek. You are the constant behind every variable of success. When we look at the trajectory of success in any area, whether it's science, business, relationships, or personal growth, we often focus on the external factors. We examine strategies, resources, timing, and opportunities as if they alone are responsible for the outcomes. But at the heart of every breakthrough, every turning point, there is always one constant: the individual who makes it happen. The person who stays when others quit, who learns from failure instead of fearing it, who adapts instead of retreating. This person becomes the invisible thread connecting every piece of the success puzzle. Every variable that shifts around us, market changes, economic conditions, social trends, technology, can impact the path to success, but they do not determine its possibility. You do. Your consistency in thinking, in effort, in belief is what holds the equation together. When others only see the visible changes, the real story lies in the unwavering willpower, the silent commitment, and the personal discipline that keeps showing up day after day. You are not a passive observer of your life's outcomes. You are the core operating system that drives every input and output. If success were a scientific formula, you would be the constant X that appears in every calculation. Without it, nothing adds up. The same opportunity can appear in two people's lives, but only one may recognize and seize it, not because the opportunity was better for them, but because their internal framework was different. The mindset, the readiness, the ability to see beyond the immediate challenge, these are personal qualities, not external gifts. You don't wait for success to land in your lap. You meet it halfway, showing up with your own contributions, which are irreplaceable and non-transferable. In every inspiring story, there's a person who refused to be defined by circumstance. They may have faced impossible odds, discouraging failures, and long periods of stagnation, but they kept moving forward. They were the only factor that didn't waver. When we analyze the lives of great achievers, people who revolutionized industries, transformed communities, or overcame extraordinary personal struggles, the pattern is clear. Change swirled around them, circumstances fluctuated, but they themselves remained focused, determined, and present. The journey may have taken unexpected turns, but their essence, their core identity, remained intact and active. External variables will always test you. They will tempt you to doubt yourself, to slow down, to play it safe, or to blame circumstances. But the most successful individuals understand that what happens outside matters far less than what remains constant inside. You are the stable force that can withstand pressure, adapt to the unknown, and bring clarity to confusion. While others wait for better conditions, you create your own conditions through action, attitude, and vision. That is the power of being the constant. It's easy to assume that successful people had better luck, more support, or easier paths. But more often, the difference is simply consistency. While others hesitated, they committed. While others hoped, they planned. While others got distracted, they stayed aligned. This consistency is not always glamorous. It shows up in early mornings, repeated efforts, silent sacrifices, and moments of self-reflection. It's the daily choice to keep going, to stay connected to your purpose, and to trust the process even when results are delayed. You are the author, not the editor of your destiny. This means you're not here to just revise what's already happened, but to write new chapters with confidence and intentionality. Even when everything around you seems uncertain, the one thing you can always control is how you show up. And when you show up as your full self, clear in purpose, resilient in action, and unwavering in belief, you become the defining factor in your own success equation. The market may crash, opportunities may shift, people may doubt you, but if you stay rooted in who you are and what you're building, the external noise fades into the background. All progress begins with a decision, and all transformation begins with presence. Your presence, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, is the unseen ingredient in every outcome you create. The tools you use, the knowledge you gain, the network you build, all of these are variables, useful but changing. They come and go, but your commitment, your internal compass, your belief in your own role, these things make the difference between a passing moment and a lasting impact. Data may show progress, but your belief fuels the momentum. In a world increasingly driven by metrics, algorithms, and performance indicators, we've learned to measure success in numbers. Charts, growth curves, and performance reports give us visual representations of achievement, and they're powerful. But numbers alone don't move mountains. Behind every upward trend is a human being who chose to believe in a possibility before it became visible to anyone else. Belief is what initiates action long before results show up. It's the invisible driver behind momentum, the internal force that pushes you to keep going when logic suggests stopping. When Hans Rosling shared data, he didn't just show us numbers, he told stories. He revealed the human spirit behind the statistics. He helped us understand that data, while informative, doesn't operate on its own. It needs interpretation, context, and above all, human willpower to change what the numbers represent. In your own journey, the graphs may show your growth in wealth, health, skill, or influence, but that data doesn't exist without belief that something better was possible. Before the first dollar was earned, the first step was taken, or the first skill was mastered, there was a thought, I can do this. That thought becomes the seed that fuels everything else. Belief isn't passive. It's not wishful thinking or blind optimism. It's active engagement with a future that hasn't arrived yet. It's choosing to take another step despite failure, to invest again after loss, to rise again after rejection. Belief is not measured in percentages or ratios, yet it is the strongest catalyst for change. When you believe in what you're doing, you generate energy, enthusiasm, and persistence. These are the raw materials that build real momentum. Without belief, action becomes mechanical, and mechanical action doesn't sustain itself. It burns out, but belief regenerates motivation from the inside. Every success story you admire began with a moment of private conviction. That quiet decision, unrecognized and undocumented, is where real momentum began. No spreadsheet recorded it, no camera captured it, but it was there, alive and pulsing through every moment of effort that followed. When others doubted, that person believed. When data was scarce or discouraging, they still acted. Their belief wasn't based on what they saw. It was based on what they felt, what they envisioned, and what they decided to commit to. Momentum is more than movement, it's purposeful acceleration. It's what happens when belief meets consistent effort. Even the most successful people face obstacles, setbacks, and stagnation, but their belief becomes the anchor. It reminds them why they started and pushes them to find new angles, solutions, and strategies. They don't rely solely on positive results to keep moving. They rely on internal certainty. The data might say plateau, but belief says progress is still being made. It's easy to be motivated when the data looks good. It's harder to keep pushing forward when the numbers tell a different story, but this is where belief proves its power. Anyone can move with the current. Belief allows you to move against it. It allows you to swim upstream, to challenge odds, to become the outlier in a world obsessed with averages. And when you do that, you eventually shift the data itself. You become the reason the curve bends upward. You don't just follow momentum, you create it in your own life. Reflect on the moments where belief carried you. Think of the times you acted even when there was no evidence that things would work out. Those are not just stories of courage, they are proof of how momentum begins. And once you start moving with belief, you attract more clarity, more opportunities, and more strength. People around you respond differently. Energy shifts. The data begins to change because the foundation behind it, your belief, has already shifted. Belief is contagious. When others see your conviction, your confidence in the face of uncertainty, they feel compelled to join, support, or at least pay attention. They start believing too, and when that happens, individual belief becomes collective momentum. A team moves, a business grows, a movement starts. But it always begins with one person choosing to trust the vision before it's validated. This is the unseen truth in every data-driven success story. There's always a force behind the numbers that graphs can't capture. That force is your belief. It's the energy behind the effort, the clarity behind the chaos, the spark that ignites persistence. You are not just a performer within a system, you are a creator of forward motion. Your belief is not a background feeling, it is the engine behind your trajectory, the silent power behind every visible metric. Every achievement carries the fingerprint of personal commitment. It's easy to admire accomplishments from a distance. The awards, the milestones, the visible success that gets shared and celebrated. But beneath every highlight lies a story of dedication, often invisible to the world. Commitment is the silent partner of achievement. It doesn't ask for attention, but nothing meaningful happens without it. It's the late-night effort, the early morning routine, the decision to keep going when distraction and doubt offer an easier path. This personal investment, this deep-rooted choice to keep showing up, is what distinguishes real achievement from momentary success. People often search for shortcuts, strategies, and systems that promise fast results. But the truth is, no system works without a committed individual operating it. Tools and resources can assist, but they cannot substitute for your will. Personal commitment is what makes the difference between someone who tries something and someone who masters it. It's not about talent alone. It's about what you're willing to do repeatedly, even when progress feels slow or invisible. The more committed you are, the more momentum you generate. It's this consistency of effort that compounds over time and transforms simple actions into exceptional outcomes. Think of any skill that took you time to develop. At first, the learning curve was steep. There were setbacks, confusion, and moments of frustration. But what brought improvement wasn't just time passing. It was your decision to keep engaging, to keep practicing, to keep refining. That decision is the essence of personal commitment. It's what leads to breakthroughs. It's what turns a beginner into an expert, a dreamer into a doer, an idea into a legacy. No one sees the thousands of micro decisions you make along the way, but each one leaves a mark. Each one shapes the final result. Achievement is built in moments that feel ordinary. It's found in the effort that no one applauds, the sacrifices that no one sees, and the inner discipline that no one understands. You can't outsource personal commitment. It can't be bought, borrowed, or delegated. It comes from within and expresses itself through action. It's revealed in your ability to stay true to your goals, even when your environment doesn't support them. Even when others lose interest or lower their standards, you keep going. That's the quiet force that builds trust, not just with others, but within yourself. Personal commitment turns intention into reality. You may have a vision, but without sustained effort, that vision fades. Commitment keeps it alive. It keeps you aligned. It acts as a compass, guiding you through uncertainty. When you're deeply committed, you don't rely on motivation to move forward. Motivation may fluctuate, but commitment anchors you. It gives your actions structure and your habits purpose. That structure is what builds results. It creates a sense of identity. This is who I am. This is what I do. I follow through. You'll notice that people who consistently achieve in any field, whether art, science, leadership, or service, have a strong internal standard. They don't wait for circumstances to be ideal. They create the conditions for success through persistent effort. That's not coincidence. It's the mark of personal commitment. When you commit deeply, you develop resilience. You stop being reactive to outside events and start responding from a place of clarity. You develop the strength to navigate disappointment and the patience to stay the course when results are delayed. There's something powerful about knowing that the work you put in carries your unique signature. No one else can bring your level of insight, attention, or heart to the process. Your fingerprint is not just symbolic, it's real. It's in the way you handle challenges, the way you push through fatigue, the way you stay aligned with your values. That level of ownership cannot be manufactured. It only comes from a personal decision to give your best, over and over again. Even when you achieve something great, what people admire most isn't just the outcome. It's the process you went through. The discipline, the sacrifices, the long hours, the setbacks you overcame. People feel the energy of your commitment. It inspires them because it reflects something rare and authentic. In a world full of distraction and half-effort, real commitment shines. It leaves a lasting impression because it's rooted in something deeper than surface-level goals. It's driven by purpose, by belief, by a sense of responsibility to your own potential. You may not always feel celebrated during the process. Commitment often feels lonely, repetitive, and unglamorous, but it builds something lasting. It creates a foundation that doesn't crumble under pressure. When you make a promise to yourself and keep it over and over again, you strengthen your inner core. You build trust in your ability to follow through, and that trust becomes the fuel for even greater achievement. Success isn't detached from you, it is shaped, directed, and owned by you. So often, people speak about success as if it is something that exists outside of themselves, waiting to be found or granted. It's treated like a prize at the end of a game, awarded only to those who play perfectly or are lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time. But true success doesn't operate that way. It is not a distant object to be chased. It is a personal creation, molded by your thoughts, choices, and actions. You don't stumble upon success. You grow into it, intentionally and consciously, through everything you bring to the journey. The idea that success is external can be comforting because it takes the pressure off. It allows people to blame external forces when things don't go as planned. But the reality is, the most fulfilled and consistent achievers don't think of success as something outside their control. They recognize that they are the origin of it. It's not found, it's built. And that building process is shaped daily by the level of ownership they take over their time, focus, mindset, and behavior. You are not separate from your outcomes. They reflect you, they mirror your inner world, your decisions, your standards, and your perseverance. Ownership is the turning point in any transformation. When you stop waiting for someone else to choose you, validate you, or open doors for you, and instead start claiming responsibility for your own path, everything changes. You begin to realize that your success is not someone else's job, it's yours. It doesn't belong to the economy, your upbringing, your past mistakes, or your current resources. It belongs to you, and that realization awakens a different level of power. It shifts you from being reactive to being proactive, from passive to purposeful, from hoping to creating. Every person who has made a significant impact in their field or community started with this same realization. They didn't wait for guarantees. They didn't ask for permission. They simply started taking steps, shaping their world according to their vision. They faced rejection, uncertainty, and countless obstacles, but they kept owning the process. That ownership becomes a force, a kind of gravitational pull that keeps you grounded no matter how stormy the outside world becomes. When you shape your success from within, no one can take it from you. Because it's not tied to someone else's system or approval, it's rooted in who you are, your decisions, what you say yes to, what you walk away from, what you give your energy to, are the tools that carve the life you experience. The clarity of your vision, the discipline of your habits, the strength of your values, and the consistency of your action are the invisible architecture behind every visible success. Even the smallest victories carry your signature because they came from your commitment, your perspective, and your willingness to move forward when it was easier to stand still. Success is not some perfect, polished image. It's often messy. It includes missteps, detours, and delayed results. But the thread running through all of it is your influence. You give it shape through how you show up, how you respond to setbacks, how you treat people, how you talk to yourself when no one else is listening. The journey may be unpredictable, but your role in it is not. You are the constant force, the center of impact, the one who defines what success even means for your life. And because of that, you have the freedom to shape it however you choose. This is why comparison is so damaging. When you try to model your success based on someone else's life or timeline, you disconnect from your own truth. You start chasing shadows instead of creating substance. But when you stay connected to your own path, your values, your strengths, your goals, you create something authentic and lasting. You realize that the more aligned you are with who you truly are, the more powerful and fulfilling your success becomes. It stops being about proving yourself and starts being about expressing yourself fully. Owning your success doesn't mean controlling every detail. It means taking full responsibility for your growth, your learning, your effort, and your direction. It means understanding that nothing outside of you defines your worth or limits your potential. You get to decide how far you go, how deeply you grow, and how widely you impact others. That's the beauty of internal ownership. It doesn't rely on circumstances. It thrives in spite of them. When you claim your role in the process, you take the steering wheel of your life with both hands, not hoping for a smoother road, but becoming a better driver.